Thank you for tuning in to another Terrific Tips for Business or Terrific Tips for Business. I'm your host, Terry Watkins, and you can't spell terrific without Terry. So that's why it's Terrific Tips for Business. I'm so glad that you came to listen to us today. I have a very special guest with me, Brenda Kolasa, and she is a visual brand expert and business coach. How cool is that to have somebody who has two different skills that serve our business community? With her experience of over 25 years in design and as a success coach, Brenda has worked with clients all over the world and understands the mindset of the ambitious entrepreneur trying to grow their business. That's all of us. I know that's everybody listening to this, and it's myself included. So I'm so happy to have her with us today. Brenda's passion has always focused on helping small business entrepreneurs who are committed to staying competitive and improving the success of their business. Through her fresh design skills and the Kaizen-based coaching approach, Brenda works with her clients to come up with unique solutions in order to market themselves more effectively and gain confidence and sail through any obstacles that may get in their way. She has been nominated in various awards and was the recipient of the Woman of Excellence in Entrepreneurship. How cool is that? I knew I liked her, which made a huge impact on her commitment to continue to mentor and empower others in reaching the higher goals and succeeding within their businesses. Please join me in welcoming Miss Brenda Kolasa to the show. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, thank you for that. I didn't realize it was so long.
You are good. It was not that long. I like to add in a little thing here or there, especially when I know somebody. That's really fun. So talk to us a little bit Kaizen. I know me and you have had a couple of conversations about the Kaizen model, but I don't think our listeners know what that is. So I know I said it and everybody listening just went, huh?
What?
Can you tell us what the Kaizen-based coaching model is?
Yeah, so Kaizen is a Japanese term. It stands for continuous improvement made through small steps. And how it originated, Terry, was back in World War II, an American by the name of Robert Deming brought it actually to Japan. Japan had heard of Robert and his success with corporate America, building up corporate America after the war. So they invited him over to see if he could help their manufacturing plants that were basically annihilated during the war. So one of the first to jump on board was Toyota, actually. And they incorporated a whole Kaizen philosophy around their business. And that has served them, even to this day, to basically become one of those manufacturing superpowers. And it's all based through Kaizen philosophy.
Interesting. Wow. I had no idea. So it's really the principle of how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Right.
Right.
Only this takes it a couple steps more, like maybe one toenail at a time. Because when we think about small steps, Kaizen small steps, basically what that does is it allows our brain to be reprogrammed and hacked, okay? So it disarms the brain's fear response by stimulating energy, momentum, and the ability to achieve more, right? Our brains are programmed to resist change. Change is scary. Even good change is scary to a lot of people. And as you know, entrepreneurs face change constantly, right? And it's those entrepreneurs that know how to get out of their own way and reach outside their comfort zone that do really well. And for those that struggle with that a little bit, may have a lot of fears, just not comfortable being outside that zone, that's where Kaizen comes in perfectly, because what it does is it bypasses that fear part in our brain, that amygdala, that fight or flight part of our brain that wants to stop us from doing scary and different things. And it does that because it protects us, right? So when it protects us, what does it do? All of a sudden we turn squirrel. We go, oh, there's Facebook. Oh, there's the fridge needs to be cleaned, or oh, the kids need me, or oh, my desk could be cleaned.
Oh, right? That's when we get into action faking.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So that's your brain, even though some of it may be kind of productive, like cleaning your desk, but the reality is you're not doing what you should be doing. And your brain is telling you you're going to be more comfortable doing something you know. So let's just keep it at that, right? So through Kaizen, especially through the small steps, we can tippy-toe around that amygdala so that we don't wake it up. Okay, because when that amygdala wakes up, it goes, whoa, stop, you're not doing that. So we have to tippy-toe by that amygdala with these small steps. And the small steps are so small that they're laughable. They are laughable. I'll give you an example. I can't stand filing. Okay, you can't see it, thankfully, because it's hidden, but I have a stack like that. And it keeps growing and growing. And I don't think I'm alone in this, especially as an entrepreneur. We wear a lot of hats. So what I do is I Kaizen it, and I think, can I file 5 pieces of paper today? Just 5 pieces of paper. My brain goes, what do you, of course you can. Like, that's so laughable. Okay, let's do it. 5 pieces of paper. I do it and I go, oh, that wasn't so bad. Maybe I'll do 5 more, right? And then the next day, I'll say the same thing. Can I do 5 or 10 pieces of paper? The brain goes, yeah, of course. That's not scary. You can do that. So then I do it, and eventually I do more and more and more because I gain that momentum. And I ended up achieving way more than sitting and fretting and procrastinating about it. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I think it relates really well to that 1% improvement. If we can improve 1% every day, or if we can do 1% every day, by the end of the year, we have 365% that we've accomplished. Absolutely. But because we made that step to improve 1% every day, well, what's 1%? Okay, so I'll give you an example. My husband and I have been talking for years about getting kayaks and about getting bicycles so that we can ride around town and we can go out on the lake or to the ocean and whatever. And we've talked about it and we've talked about it and we've talked about it. So 1% was, okay, by the end of 2020, we will have kayaks and boats. So we've set a date that we want to achieve this by. And I've also started the research process. Well, what do I need to know about kayak maintenance? What do I need to know about bicycle maintenance? What kinds of bicycles or kayaks even exist? What are going to be the best ones for us? What are some of the things that you might use kayaks or bicycles for? And for me, I'm not a small person. You can't see most of me because of where the camera is, but I'm a big girl, and I know that. So I know that, like, a kayak from Walmart, I'm probably going to fall through it. Like, I want to make sure that it's going to have...
You'd be surprised. They're pretty darn strong.
I want to make sure that I'm not going to poke a hole in it when I'm trying to step into it in the lake. So I want it to have a nice weight limit, weight bearing capacity. So I've started looking into those things, and now I'm like, okay, well, we've talked and talked and talked for years about this, but we never looked into it. And now we're starting to look into it. And now I'm feeling a little bit more confident with the ones that we're going to get and where we can go. So once things start to open back up and I can, like, go sit on a bicycle or go sit in a kayak, I'll be able to know what I'm kind of looking for. And then I'm not just basing it off of I want this. Okay, I want this, but I want to make sure it's a logical decision. And so that was just my one step, my 1%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. What do you find in your coaching practice and in helping people understand this one small step concept? What do you find is the biggest challenge that small business owners have with it?
With that, remembering to use
it. Yeah.
Right? Remembering to use it, because a lot of times we get so caught up in our heads we automatically go into overwhelm, or we automatically start to procrastinate. And we allow these hurdles to stop us from doing what we need to be doing or what we want to be doing, whether it's, you're an artist, or you're someone in business that has a lot of projects on the go. Whatever it is, we need to get out of our own way, basically, right? So you have to remember to do these steps, to remember to put these projects and these actions into small steps, follow them down into small, laughable steps. If you're losing weight, right, and you just can't seem to get on that treadmill, I would say take your shoes there tomorrow morning and stand beside the treadmill. That's all you have to do for that day. That's it. Can you do that?
Well, sure.
Of course I can do that. That's so silly. Yes, it is silly. The next day, put your shoes on and stand on the treadmill. Can you do that? And it progresses, right? Because you start to feel more comfortable. So if you can remember to use that process, and that's, I guess, where coaching comes in, right? Because I'm there to remind you to use that process and to hold you accountable in using that process. And I mean, I have yet to have a client come back to me and say, that is crap. That didn't work. Like, they love that. They love working this way. So
yeah.
But you have to remember to do it and hold yourself accountable.
So how do we know if the step that we're taking is the right step to be taking?
If it's not overwhelming you, it's the right step to be taking. Right? So if you're continuing to procrastinate, it's too big of a step. So drill it down even further and even further and even further until it's laughable.
Okay.
Because once you start, you gain that momentum. Once you start something, it's not as scary anymore. And you just automatically want to do more.
This is true.
Yeah.
What's one of the common challenges that you think small business owners have that Kaizen has been able to help them with?
Oh, overwhelm.
Yeah.
Overwhelm and gaining clarity. So one thing I do with all my new clients is a fear assessment. And once they can actually see a lot of what holds them back on paper and actually start to look into why, the reasoning and where that came from, it's amazing how free they feel. So after that, we work on gaining clarity in what it is that they really want to be doing, their goals, their whys, how to reach that goal, right, into these different steps. And yeah, they just, the momentum that they gain is unbelievable. Like, I have testimonial after testimonial that loves the clarity they get out of that.
It's a really creative method to, like you said, tiptoe around the amygdala, that fear, that flight or fight response system that we all have. It's part of human being. It's part of human existence. So figuring out how we can trick it. Because I remember several years ago, one of my friends always used to have her clocks in her bedroom be 15 to 20 minutes faster than the clocks in the rest of her house.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing? Like, you set your own clocks. How do you not know that they're 20? And don't you like remember that they're 20 minutes faster? So then it doesn't work. And she's like, surprisingly enough, you actually do forget that you've set the clock 20 minutes faster. And so you just respond as if that time is the actual time. And if that's what you need to trick yourself to get out of bed and get moving in the morning, it really does work. We really can trick our brains in a variety of ways, which is really funny if you think about it, because my brain is my brain. So how do you trick your brain when you're the one thinking of the trick? I don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny because I've done that. I can so relate to that.
Yeah, and I did it too, but my brain is untrickable in some ways. And I knew that the clock was 20 minutes faster, and my brain would not let me forget that the clock was 20 minutes faster. So it didn't work for me.
So funny.
But some
It just,
people do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, any way you can hack your brain, right? Like, you know yourself best. What works for you?
Yeah. And everybody can hack their brain. That's a great phrasing. Hack your brain. So do you have a couple of tips that might be able to help us to start hacking our brain that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I teach basically 3 pillars of Kaizen when I coach. I kind of work that in, right, to the coaching. One is the small steps that we talked about. The other one is small questions, and the other one is small thoughts. So I'll give you an example for small Kaizen small questions. You know, a lot of times we like to tell ourselves what to do, right? So let's say you're at the grocery store and you go, I need to start eating healthier.
Yeah.
Okay, your brain's going, yeah, so what? Like, don't tell me what to do. So instead of saying that, ask yourself small questions like, what healthy alternative can I buy today than potato chips? Right then, your brain's going to start to want to answer that question because it loves a challenge. Our brains love a challenge, right? So if you ask certain questions in a certain way, you're going to get a really positive response. The same thing when I'm dealing with a project and I'm stumped, right? I need to brainstorm it. I just can't come up with a solution. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll ask myself a small question the night before. And I'll say to myself, let's say I'm doing a promotion. What are some ideas I can do for this promotion coming up? What are some creative ideas that nobody else has done? And then I'll leave it and I'll go to bed. And 9 times out of 10, I'm not kidding you. Okay, maybe 8 times out of 10. I'm exaggerating. I'll be in the shower because you're in alpha mode. Your brain's in alpha mode in the shower, which is it's relaxed, right? It's kind of that dull. You're not thinking much. All of a sudden, you get this aha moment in the shower. I can't tell you how many great ideas I've had in the shower from asking small questions the night before. It's incredible, and it really works for me to the point where now I always have a paper and pencil outside my shower. So in the bathroom, I have one on my bedside table, and I have one in my car because I get a lot of ideas while I'm driving too. It's any time, like you could be out on a walk, you could be meditating, you could be whatever. Get your brain into alpha mode, and you're going to have these aha moments. So you can do that by asking small questions. And you can, what, when, how, and where. We tend to leave out why because a lot of people will focus the why on more of a negative question, like, why do I suck? Why don't I know this, right? Well, your brain's going to want to answer that. You're not going to like the answer. So focus on positive questions.
It's a great tip for our small questions. Focus on positive questions.
Right? Positive questions.
Yeah.
And
I tend to stay away from the how question because I find that how can lead to overwhelm very quickly.
Well, that could happen. Absolutely. Yeah, good point. Good point.
So I watched a podcast with Russell Brunson. He's the owner and founder of ClickFunnels. And he talks about every time you think of how, think of who. So you just move the W.
Yes. I love that because that's part of it. How you do something, you call for help. Right? Or you use somebody else's template or whatever.
Yeah. Because it doesn't have to be creative, to be innovative in each of our respective industries. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can take a concept or an idea or something that was used before or in a different industry and apply it to our industry. So we're not having to come up with how can I create a new campaign or a new promotion that nobody else has done before. It doesn't have to be that nobody else has done before. It could just be that nobody in your industry or in your area has done before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? You'd be hard pressed to find an original idea out there anywhere anymore. It's all based off of somebody else's, they've taken this idea and that idea and that, and you know what? I mean, I do this in graphic design all the time, right? I search for inspiration, and usually there's something that clicks with me, and I end up just twisting it and turning it and bringing in this element and that element, and voila, right? But it never ever started from an original idea. It always starts from inspiration from somewhere.
Interesting. So asking the right small questions, and I want to come back to the inspiration from somewhere point, because I don't want to lose that, but I don't want to also lose our train of thought. So there was a third step in your 3 steps. What was
right?
that?
So small thoughts.
Okay.
So this comes in really handy when you're getting ready for an important meeting or a presentation. Maybe you're speaking on stage. I use this a lot, actually, when I speak. So I don't know if you've ever heard of mind sculpture before.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it's very similar to visualization, except visualization is only that. It's visualizing. Whereas mind sculpture takes in all of the senses. Okay, so, and it only takes a minute a day. So what I do for about a week coming up to a presentation or a talk that I have to give, I'll lay down at night and I'll close my eyes and I will visualize the stage, the room, the audience, and then I will try and smell that room. I will walk up the stairs and I'll feel the stairs. I'll feel that handshake as I'm shaking the introducer's hand. And I'm seeing the audience, I'm hearing them, and I'm hearing myself talk. And in that way, I can go through anything that might trip me up and come up with alternate solutions. So what happens is you prepare yourself. The mind doesn't know any different. When you do that, when you mind sculpture, the mind doesn't know the difference from reality or from that perception that you're doing. So I'll give you an example. Mike Phelps does this. He's the Olympic swimmer athlete, right? He does this every time he competes. So he doesn't call it mind sculpting, but it's exactly what it is. And before he takes to the pool, he sculpts anything and everything that could go wrong. So he actually takes those strokes. He's making those strokes. He's smelling that pool. He's looking at all of the people around him. It's like he's actually there. And you know what? This really helped him in the Beijing Olympics, because if you remember, he ended up getting water in his goggles.
Yeah.
And that normally would mess somebody up. But what happened is that he sculpted that. He mind sculpted that scenario beforehand. He knew exactly what to do. His brain knew exactly what to do as if he'd already done it. So it's a really powerful tool, I guess, strategy, if you're nervous about something, right? Mind sculpt it out a couple days beforehand for a minute or two. Mind sculpt how it could go well and how it may not go well. And the times when it may not go well, mind sculpt out what you would do instead. And when and if that happened, your mind's going to think, I've been there, done this. This is easy. So you take away the fear and you just carry on with a lot of clarity and a lot of confidence.
I love it. And it doesn't take a lot of time to do that. There have been a lot of podcasts. I know Ed Milet talks a lot about mind sculpting, only he refers to it as visualization. Tony Robbins does as well, visualization. But this really does, I think, encapsulate what visualization really is, because visualization is not just putting some pretty pictures on a vision board. It's a really feeling that moment. And when you can feel that moment, then it's more about the feeling and less about the thing. And that's all there ever really is anyway, is the feeling and not the thing. It's never the thing.
Yeah. And then what you can do is you can sort of twist that fear into excitement, right? Get excited about it, because once you get excited, instead of fearful, your body's going to react in a whole different way. And so is your brain.
So what about somebody who's never had that experience? Say it's somebody who wants to be a motivational speaker, inspirational speaker, but they've never been on a stage or in a conference hall of that many people. How do they begin to imagine and mind sculpt that happening for them?
You know what? I think you just have to envision yourself getting onto that stage, shaking somebody's hand and starting your talk. Just start. And one thing that I do before I get on stage is I do the Superwoman pose. Have you heard of the Superwoman pose?
I have heard of it. I've used it before, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, for me, it's really empowering to stand there like Superman, Superwoman, right?
That's
and
right.
You just take some deep breaths for about a minute. And you just tell yourself, you've got this.
Yeah.
You're excited. You're excited that you get to share your knowledge in front of all these people. They're waiting to learn from you. And that is so empowering and so exciting.
Yeah. And I think Tony talks a lot about if you get too wrapped up in the oh crap, what did I say? Or I just said something wrong, or and you get too into your own head, then you stop focusing on the value that you're bringing to everybody. And so if you refocus on the value that you're bringing to them, you stop thinking about what you're saying or what you're doing, because you're more worried about them having a good experience or having a good time or getting what they are expecting than about you and what you're doing. Because as a speaker,
Absolutely.
if you're focused on you, you're focused on the wrong thing.
Right. And be patient with yourself. You're just human. And everybody in that audience is going to love the fact that you are human.
Yeah.
So own up to it. If it's that bad, just say, oh crap, I lost my train of thought. Where was I? Okay, here we go. Or just phase over it and nobody will notice it.
Right. We are our own worst critic, right? You're
going to make mistakes. It's natural.
Exactly. So you mentioned earlier inspiration, and you have a lot of creativity. You've got this graphic design side that I'm sure you bring into your creative approaches for helping your clients figure out their challenging situations. But what are some tools or resources that you use to find some inspiration for yourself?
Well, Google is a great tool. I mean, the first thing I do, if I have to develop a website or a logo for a client, the first thing I'll do is I'll check out their competition and I'll see what they're doing. And then I'll check out other designs within that industry and see what I can get inspired from through doing that. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just take screenshots and put them onto my work page, right? And say, okay, I love that element. What happens if we take that type of dot and we put it in here? Or that color scheme, I love that. Let's try that in here. And you just try. And honestly, what I do is I'll work a little bit and then I'll step away and do something else. And then I'll come back and I'll go, okay, that looks absolutely horrible. What the hell were you thinking? Or I'll say, wow, I was brilliant that day. but it's
funny how those two are so close together.
Right? When you come back with a different perspective, it's really interesting to see what you come up with, because sometimes the things that you didn't think were very good in the beginning, your client absolutely loves them. It's their favorite one.
Yeah.
So you just never know.
True.
Yeah.
So I guess being open to the possibilities.
Yeah. And being open to errors. Like, okay, so back in the day, so I'm a PC girl. Okay. I'm not a Mac girl. I tried it, been there, done that. Yeah, did not buy the t-shirt just because I couldn't get it. Anyway, I'm a PC girl. So back in the day, PCs used to crash all the time, especially the program I worked on, because it's such a hog. It is a big program. So I'd be halfway through doing something brilliant, I'm sure, and then I would get the blue screen of death.
Oh no.
And I go, oh my God, I've just worked for 2 hours on this, 3 hours on this, and I forgot to save it. But you know that, like every single time I've gone back to redo it, it's been better. It's been way better every single time. And so sometimes those are, those are gifts. Not at the time, maybe, but when you can come back and say, okay, I know I did this, this, and this. Oh yeah, by doing that, that would make that better for sure. Yeah, I should have done that. Yeah, I'll do that. And it's always way better. And sometimes even through mistakes, like, I don't know if you know what a vector file is or whatever, but okay, so when I'm working with vectors and sometimes a line doesn't go where I want it to go and it goes bing over here instead. And I'm going, oh, gee, wait a minute. That's really cool. I like that. So be open to those oopses, right? Because sometimes they can really take your design to that next level. And I've done a lot of that, more than what I want to share. But a lot of times these designs come out of, mistakes that have been made and they just work.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you, I love that because it's a way for us to stop being so stuck in the way that we think it needs to be done, and be opening ourselves up to that curiosity, because that's where creativity lives, is inside of curiosity. And so if we allow ourselves to make mistakes, laugh at it and say, but that actually wasn't too bad.
Exactly. Being open to it.
Yeah.
Being open to those possibilities instead of being a perfectionist and needing it to be just right.
Y'all, she's speaking to the perfectionist inside of me right now. I'm just saying. She's telling my inner perfectionist to chill out.
Chill out. That's funny.
What would you say was like your driving motivation for getting involved in business and picking up these multiple tools that you have at your disposal? Because you have a lot of different tools that you get to use. So why do you do all of this?
Yeah, so I've had a few businesses in my, 25, 30-year career, and almost every single one of them has been empowering entrepreneurs. There's been a common theme there, and I don't know what it is about it, but I've always loved the mentoring aspect. I've loved helping them to grow in any way that I can help them, whether it's connecting them to people or, hooking them up with a networking organization I'm a part of, or whatever it is, sending them a white paper or a link to something, or just helping them, right? Helping them with any questions that they have. And it's funny because a lot of people don't think they have anything to offer. But once you start talking to people and once you start realizing how much value they've gained from you, which you don't really see it, you have to ask or they have to tell you. It's incredible the amount of wisdom and knowledge that you gain by just doing, by just experiencing your business. And through years and years of it, there's a lot of stuff that you accomplish and that you've had to deal with that maybe others are trying to get through right now. And so that really interests me.
I love that. And that's probably one of the reasons that we're friends, because I'm in the same spot. I just love working with entrepreneurs and small business owners. I like to celebrate the win with them. So I love finding whatever their challenge is, the pitfall, and celebrating that win with them. And I think it's really awesome, the community that you're building and creating and the support system that you have available just because of the years of experience that you can bring to your clients and your team.
Yeah, like I have a community on Facebook called the Empowered Business Leaders Community. And in that, I incorporate a lot of the stuff that I know of, and I'm trying to build a community of like-minded entrepreneurs that want to learn how to do better, how to be better, they want to learn strategies for success, right? And I think that's all part of it, is just what you said, trying to build a community, your community, however that looks like for you, right? Some people have meetups, some people just kind of go on Zoom and invite their people in. Whatever community looks like for you. I know I'm in a number of networking groups. It's interesting because you learn so much from all these different members and people that you come into contact with. And the only way to do that is, like you said, is building a community around you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Brenda, what would you say has been one of the biggest challenges that you've had to face with your businesses? And how did you overcome that challenge?
You know, I'm the type that has a lot of passions. I'm passionate about a lot of things. So I tend to have a few businesses on the go all the time. My graphics business has always been there. I mean, I've been a designer for over 30, 35 years. I've been a designer. My coaching I've been doing for the past 2 years, and that'll stay with me until retirement. But throughout that, I've always been multi-passionate. And for me, I think it's the time aspect. There's not enough hours in the day to do everything I want. I'm a builder. I love building programs and classes, and I love doing new and innovative things. But it takes time to market those things. It takes time to do them. And then I have to put food on the table by doing the work that my clients actually want me to do. So for me, it's a matter of time and knowing what my priorities are for this week, for today, for this month, whatever. Knowing those priorities to those goals and how important they are, knowing that why, right? Which is so important in any goal, is knowing why it's important to you. Because if you don't know that, chances are you're going to put it in the drawer of forgotten goals. And I have a few of those. So unless you have a really emotional why behind that goal, chances are it's going to get forgotten about. So in answer to your question, time is a problem for me. And I get around that by focusing on what's important today.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to answer that, because time is a problem for all of us, entrepreneurs especially, because you're wearing so many hats.
Yeah.
And I have also found that if I can just focus my attention on just a few things. Look, there's always a to-do list. There's always a to-do list. You can knock things off of that list every day, and there will be 5 more right behind it that are asking for your attention. So a to-do list is good, but it can be completely overwhelming to keep a to-do list. Instead, find just 3 things this week that you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because there are 5 days in the week. So if you didn't get to it Monday, you've got Tuesday. Don't worry about it. But if you only have the 3 things, you know that 3 things are going to get done. And at least at the end of the week, you can look back at the week as a success if those 3 things got done.
Right on.
It's much easier.
And then during the day, you incorporate Kaizen small steps for those things.
Yeah.
Very, very small, and you'll get her done. It'll just happen.
Exactly. Brenda, this has been so much fun. I so appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. And I know we could probably keep talking about these ideas and dig a little bit deeper, but I want to respect your time and our listeners. So what's the best way? I know you've given so many nuggets, and I'm sure you've got some more things that you want to share with our listeners. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you, and any other information you want to share with them?
Yeah, so if you go to brendakolasa.com, that's my coaching side. If you go to visualresolvegraphics.com, that's my graphics side. I am all over Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm building on Instagram under Brenda Kolasa. So if you just look me up, you'll find me. You will find me, and reach out to me, because I would love to connect with you. And if I could give a gift to your listeners today, Terry.
Yes, that would be awesome. We love gifts.
We've been talking a lot about Kaizen today. So I have a Kaizen guide that will help you to implement those small steps, small thoughts, and small questions. And it also comes with my 30-day goal planner, as well as my daily small step sheet. Nice. So all you need to do is text me. Text me at 403-350-6595 with the word Kaizen. Awesome. And I'm going to email that back to you. So maybe you can put that in the show notes, whatever, but that, I think that'll be you know, if you're interested in Kaizen at all, that might be a good download for you.
Awesome. Brenda, thank you so much. That's such a great gift. So tell us that text number again.
403-350-6595. And just use the word Kaizen. And then I'll get some more information from you and I'll send that document to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that awesome offer and for being here with us. And this has been a fun conversation and I so appreciate you.
I've loved it. Thank you so much for having me. It's so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Cool.